2012 to 2013 NBA season was one of the most unpredictable and exciting seasons of all time, which is exactly why I picked it. The first thing that you need to talk about when you talk about the NBA is teams. And the best team in the league is the Miami Heat with LeBron James, but they've also got Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, who are some of the best players in the league. They're helped by role players such as Chris Anderson and Mario Chalmers. Second, you would go to the Oklahoma City Thunder, who is the best in the West, and that they possess players such as Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. Third, you talk about the San Antonio Spurs, who are old, but they've got a lot of leadership and a lot of confidence, and they win a lot of games. Finally, you go to Los Angeles.
Chicago is a very popular city. It is full of many tourist sites and other attractions. When I was down in Chicago, I went with Walloon Community Church, and it was about a 7-hour car ride. It was a lot of fun though. And then we went to this concert. We saw the band Everfound. There's these 4 Russian brothers, and they were all in. It was a Christian band. It was like a rock Christian. And then afterwards I went down to the stand and met the bass guitar player. We were talking for a little bit. He told me he does a lot of cover for music, but he also does some of his original music. And that was a lot of fun talking to him. And then I also met a famous rapper named Boogaloo. He signed a piece of paper and my bracelet, and I talked to him for a little bit. And then there was over 5.
His nickname back home was actually French Lick. I don't even know what that means. He retired due to back problems, though. Now, in their Olympic season, they did really, really good. The very best game, they scored 136 points, and their opponent scored 57 points. That was against Cuba. And their second best game they scored 127 points, and their opponent scored 76 points. That was against Lithuania. Now, their third best game, they scored 127 points, and their opponent scored 83 points. That was against Brazil. Now, they won all of their games, and obviously, you know that they took home the gold. Now, out of my 3 very favorite players, I would have to say that my very favorite out of those is probably Magic Johnson.
Cheerleading is over 100 years old. The earliest competition was in the late 1960s. It first began as a guy sport, and then years later, the girls and guys started cheering for football players. That's basically how cheerleading started. The pom-poms were invented in 1930. Pom-poms play a big role in cheerleading. But, your routine cannot be over 2.5 minutes. And your dance itself has to be 1.5 minutes. You have to include the jump requirements for your level. You have to include a dance, a cheer.
Football is a sport that's been around for a really long time. It was invented in 1876. But it wasn't real popular back then. It was mostly just guys who would play pickup games after work, or they would have a time where they would get together and they would play, but they didn't have any equipment because there wasn't a real audience for people to watch them. But football today is a lot different. There's 2 main leagues that a lot of people watch, and that's college football, and then there's the NFL football, which is the National Football League. College football is basically the larger universities that want to put together a football team, and they play against other colleges. If a player is really good, they will go from college to the NFL, the National Football League. But NFL has to choose them for their team. I like the NFL the most just because it's
Edward Christopher Shearer was born February 17, 1991. His parents are some foreign name for his mother, Aunt John Sheeran. They grew up in Halifax, England. Oh, did I talk about his brother Matthew? He has a brother named Matthew. He's like 25. He got his first guitar when he was 16 and wrote his first song when he was 15. Did I say he got his first guitar when he was 16?
You said like, too. You're not allowed to say like.
Did I mention? Like.
there was like this one like dude like, and then like his other like
Thank you.
was like.
My trip to Big Sky, Montana. My trip started with a 2-day-long car ride. I helped because I had my friend and my phone. When we first got there, we got there around 6 o'clock at night, so we kind of just stayed at the condo and we ate pizza and sat in the hot tub. The next day we went skiing early that morning, and we skied almost all day, ate lunch, and came back for a big dinner at the condo. I did the same exact thing the next day. I skied at Big Sky, Montana, and I skied Lone Peak both of the days, and I skied a little train park, just videotaping Hunter because I had a broken collarbone. The next day, we went to Yellowstone National Park, and we went to the Hot Springs, which is a river that has these little waterfalls, that the water that comes down from there.
Root beer. A man named Charles Hires is an incredible man. Or, I think so. The first commercial root beer was sold in 1876, and it was by him. He was born August 19, 1851, and died July 31st, 1937. He was white and straight, and nobody really knows how he died, so they just wrote unspecified. At 12 years old, he became a drugstore boy at a local pharmacy. This inspired him. This is where he met his best friend, and they grew up together, and they were both inspired to become real pharmacists. So they did, and they worked at a pharmacy in Philadelphia. He ended up getting married and had 3 sons and 2 daughters. He's a busy guy. His wife's name is Emma.
Long history. It began in the 2nd century in most certain parts of Eastern Asia and Europe. It was used as a training session for warriors to sharpen up their skills before going into battle. Warriors would kick a simple leather ball into a goalpost. The goalposts, which were 2, had a piece of canvas with a hole cut into it, tied to both posts. The warriors would aim for the hole and try to score. This would increase hand and eye coordination and feet coordination. Back then, there were no rules against violence and tackling people, so mobs of people would gather, play the sport. If an argument were